So it's the end of January as I'm making this video. Many of you have already broken your New Year's resolution. How does that feel? It's just poking my finger of judgment in you. How does that feel? Well, guess what? It's very common. And the reason is because you're resisting your bad habits rather than embracing what it is that you truly want. And if you want to learn how to actually reach your goals this year on a deep internal level so that you can achieve all the external stuff, but more importantly so that you can have and maintain and sustain a high level of fulfillment, joy, and wholeness. If you want to learn these tricks, very simple, let's watch this video together. Let's have a watching party, you and me. I'll talk, you watch, we'll be there together. See you on the inside. Hey everybody, change of scenery today. My name is Andrew Love, and as the founder, the CEO, the sexy secretary, the janitor, the accountant of Whole Goals, it is my job, as I see it, to help you reclaim your mind, heart, body, and soul so that you can be an unstoppable force of change. But what I really want to talk about today is the work that I've been doing with so many people is helping them to understand that when you have a bad habit, when you have an addiction, when you have something in your life that doesn't seem to want to go away, no matter how badly you try to kick it out, you try to adopt a new habit, but it keeps on coming back. It could be porn addiction, it could be alcohol, it could be judgment, it could be fear, it could be living small, it could be whatever. But the point is, most people, they work at the energetic level of the problem, and this is a problem in and of itself. Because when you want somebody to be clean and they're in the mud, they're covered in mud, and you're like, man, you gotta get clean. Let me go down in the mud and clean you a little bit. Guess what? You get just as muddy as them, and now you're both muddy. Neither one of you is clean. It's the same thing with your bad habit or your addiction or whatever it is. The more that you just try to fight it and resist it and kick it out of your life, you're really just still stuck at the energetic and emotional level of the problem itself, and you can't see beyond it. When you're down in the muck, when you're down in the doldrums, when you're down in the dungeon, you cannot see the light. And so you start to think that the whole world is just a series of dungeons that you're gonna be stuck in forever. And I've been coaching people left and right to stop this bad habit. The reason is you become obsessed with your problem. You start to think about it. Oh, I have these money problems. I'm so poor. I need to stop being poor. And all of this emotion is going into feeling poor, reiterating how poor you are, feeling like you're powerless until you stop being poor, and all of a sudden you've made this thing that's outside of you much grander, bigger, and more powerful than you, and it now controls you. So the circumstances have to change in order for you to be happy, and you will always be a slave to those circumstances. That's why even if you think that poverty is the reason why you're upset or why you're struggling in life, if you give that power to money and say, money, when I have money, I'm happy. When I don't have money, I'm not happy. You'll always be insecure about money your whole life. Why not just make a commitment to being happy regardless of what your bank account says, and trust me, your life will be much better for it. Money is not an indication of joy whatsoever. There's happy poor people, there's miserable rich people, there's happy rich people, there's miserable poor people. It really is an internal game, but we outsource so much of our hopes and our dreams to the external world, which is a real habit from this materialist world. So what do? This is an easy fix, guys. It's something that I've called the North Star goal for the past while. And it seems to be one of the most effective ways in order to completely flip your energetic level, and so that you can start to achieve the external stuff, but from the inside out. Not trying to get the external stuff so that you can be happy, but rather being happy so that the external stuff is available to you. What limits us is our view of what's possible and our emotional connection to what we expect. So the idea of the North Star goal is that you create an internal goal for yourself that you connect with and say, I'd like to be a really happy person who has a loving relationship with money, who loves money, whether it's here or there, but I don't try to control it and I don't try to let it control me. I just have a functional relationship with money. And when I see it, it's like, hey there, nice to see ya, wonderful to have you in my life. And when it wants to go and I want to spend it, I say, well, have fun, happy trails. And all of a sudden, you just become a vessel for money rather than think that money somehow defines something about your character. When you can just say something like, I want to have a happy, healthy relationship with money, that prioritizes how you feel about money, and it doesn't define anything about you and your character. It just allows you to define yourself how you want to feel about money. And it could be the same thing about your body. It could be the same thing about your friends. It could be the same thing about your life in general. When you focus on what you don't have and don't want in your life, and these negative things that you associate with your life, you're feeding it energy. So you need to unplug from that energy and plug into a powerful, positive source of energy. And that is by figuring out, well, what do you want? And this is a question I've been asking a lot of people because, to be honest, most people don't know how to answer this question, which is, what do you really want? People might say, I want this car, I want a house, I want this job, I want this spouse, I want this whatever it is. And it's like, no. What do you really want? That's not what you really want. You say you want a house, you say you want a spouse, you say you want a mouse. It's not the thing that you want, it's the feeling that it's gonna give you. So what is that feeling? Well, if I had a spouse and that really loved me, then I'd feel good about myself. So why don't you just start by feeling really good about yourself? I want a lot of money because then I wouldn't have to worry about money. It's like, no, that's not how it works. Why don't you just stop worrying about money now? And embrace the fact that money is this invisible energy that is neither here nor there. It's numbers on a screen, okay? When you start living this internal game and start defining how you want to feel, and you start focusing on growing that, it's like you're focusing on the light and letting that permeate your vision rather than focusing on the darkness and the mud and the gunk and letting that take over your viewpoint. If you talk to one person and you say, hey, is it a nice day? And they could look up in the sky and say, yes, it's a nice sunny day. And you can ask somebody else, is it a nice day? And they're in a dungeon, and they could say, no, it's a terrible dungeon day. It depends on your perspective. So in terms of your life, if you focus on the negatives, if you really focus on the bad habits that you have and try to wrestle with them and get rid of them, it's a losing battle. You're not gonna win. But if you acknowledge them, it's not like you just pretend like they go away and they'll disappear, but you acknowledge them, but you don't focus on them. You focus on what do you want, and you expand that. Watch how much more energy and ideas and inspiration and power, energy that you get in order to actually accomplish those things. I hope this was helpful. As always, if you have any questions, let me know. I'm Andrew Love. This is Whole Goals. Welcome to your future. What does that mean?